Thanks for joining me at 6:30. I'm Rick Marinon. Today marks 23 years since September 11th, 2001, the terror attacks that changed America forever. Tonight I'm speaking with Joe Dittmar, who started his day at the top of the South Tower and walked his way out with only 8 minutes to spare before the collapse. Now, to help you track Joe as he tells his story, look for his initials JD, and that's where he was in the tower at that time. Mr. Dittmar, thank you for joining us today. I would like to start in chronological order, if that's okay with you. Where were you Tuesday morning, September 11th?
On the morning of September 11th, I was at a meeting of 54 executives on the 105th floor of 2 World Trade Center. When the event began, that's where we were, in a closed conference room on 105 in the South Tower.
Was the room you were in, did that have windows facing the North Tower? Is that my understanding of it?
Actually, no. The room that we were in was an enclosed conference room. So there were no windows on all 4 sides, and there was only one door. What actually occurred was at 8:36, the meeting was late, or 8:46, pardon me. The meeting was late, as all insurance meetings are, and this day was no different. And at 8:46, we noticed a flicker of the lights. That was it. We couldn't see anything. We didn't hear anything. We didn't feel anything. We just saw this flicker of lights. And it was at this point that a gentleman from Aon Corporation, the company that we were visiting that day, he came in, explained to us that there had been an explosion in the North Tower. That's what he called it. And that we needed all to evacuate. And of course, that began the whole process for all of us that were in that room. I know all 54 people left the room that day. And the reason I'm positive about that is because I was the last guy out of the room. And they escorted us to the nearest fire stairwell. And that's where they proceeded to tell us that we were going to walk down 105 flights of steps. And as you can imagine, a bunch of happy campers when they hear this, okay? And it began a series of events that just continue to be points of critical decision making that either you did or you did not make in order to get down and out of the building that day. Just so that you understand, there were 54 of us in the meeting, and only 7 of us survived that day. So that's where these critical points of decision became very, very important to your survival. At that level, at 105, when they told us to go down the steps, everybody grabbed their cell phone. We were all going to call somebody to moan and groan about the fact that we couldn't have this meeting that we came to. I had come all the way from Chicago to be at this meeting. I worked in Chicago at that time for an insurance company there. And everybody was kind of perturbed more than anything because they couldn't have their meeting. And I'm sure that anybody listening to that story would say, perturbed, wow, didn't you understand what was going on? And that is the point. All of you understood way more what was going on inside and outside those buildings than any of us that were right there. We hadn't gotten a clue. We heard it was an explosion. That's all we knew. We didn't see anything. We didn't feel anything. So we started our trip down.
Did you at some point look out the window for yourself? Did you see the hole in the North Tower?
Yeah, we got down to the 90th floor, the fire stairwell that we were going down. The door out to the 90th floor was propped open. It shouldn't have been, but it was propped open. And everybody in the world who has any sense of what you should be doing during an emergency tells you that you should never get out of a fire stairwell. If you're in one, you should go all the way down to the ground, to the lobby level. That's it. That's where you exit. But everybody on this 90th floor started piling out of the fire stairwell and onto the 90th floor. I'm in the fire insurance business. I should have known way better than this, but I did what everybody else did, and I followed them all out, not knowing if I had to get to another set of steps or exactly what was going on. And it was at that point that I experienced the worst 30, 40 seconds of my life, looking out the windows to the north, seeing these huge black holes through the sides of the building, gray and black billows of smoke pouring out of those holes, flames redder than any red I'd ever seen before in my life, licking up the side of the building and beyond the top level. And if you remember, it was a crystal clear September day that day in New York City. And I remember being able to see through the smoke, through the fire, into those huge black holes, seeing pieces of the fuselage of a large plane lodged inside the building. And my first thought was, my God, how did the pilot not see the building? How did he miss? He didn't miss. He didn't miss. He did exactly what he intended on doing. So we see all this, and it was an amazing, awesome, gruesome scene to see furniture and paper and people being pulled out of the building against their will. Unbelievable sight.
So obviously we know what was coming. You're in Tower 2. Did you sense any danger or urgency to get down after you saw what you saw?
When we saw that, my first reaction was, something's not right. I'm getting out of here. And that was a critical point for a lot of people. They made an announcement over the PA system right at the time we were at 90. They said, the event's been contained to the North Tower. We believe the South Tower is safe. We suggested if you work in the South Tower, you return to your workstation. If you are a visitor, we suggest that you stay where you are until further notice. If you feel you need to leave, please proceed with caution. That's a fact. You can look it up. They made that announcement. People that I talk to about that go crazy all the time saying, my God, how could they make an announcement like that? But there was a person, a woman or man, in charge of building security at that point. They're probably down at the ground level. They've got a cop or a firefighter on their left and right side. They've got as many as 25,000 people in that one building. And I'm sure those cops and firefighters are looking at this head of security and saying, where are you going to put them? We can't let them outside. It's raining concrete and steel and bodies. You know, where are you going to let these people go? And I'm sure this person thought to themselves, hey, wait a minute. Our elevators were going up and down. Our electric was on. Our ventilation system was on. Let's hold on and wait to see what we're going to do before we know what is exactly going on. Let's not overdo anything at this particular point. It made sense at that particular point in time. Now, I clearly was not going to stay where I was. I was a visitor. I was going to get the heck out. And that's exactly what I proceeded to do. I proceeded to continue my trip down those steps until I finally got out of the building.
When we come back, Joe Dittmar is walking down a South Tower stairwell when United Flight 175 hits the building just a few floors above him.